All right, let's get into Revelation 3 and Genesis 2 and tie some things together for us. As the serpent seed is upon the earth, the SS, the hoo-hoo with the bad omen, and the things that went upon the earth with the corona, the dark sun, and that marking of that beast system and whatever else coming to take control of their robots and whatever else is happening that have been put together for you to understand as that underworld, the petro, the dark sun, the black gold is coming up, and through the chemicals and drinks and foods and whatever else is coming to take over and control a nation. And we basically have pure blood of petrochemical or pure blood of none of that shit. All right, so that's where we're at today, as some of us have become that supernatural human being and stepped out of it and created a race of supernatural human beings with our children, where they haven't had any shots. They have barely been sick for more than 24 hours. They try and do everything by the book, so-called, that book of life on the natural perspective, right? And then y'all don't realize that the hospitals that y'all are going to are just a temporary form of and a test and whatever else, that you should never be going to some weird dude looking at your coochie delivering and catching the baby, when it should be the dad at home doing these things and the women that live around you. And we've lost the sense of community. We went from that one commune to another commune. Okay, we always got to have a sense of community, but there's one community where we've been taught in an upside down world that we're taught about in that Antarctic treaty with those 12 and the 12 lights that connects you to the earth and the sea and that ear in the sea. And either way, folks, the church today, go around here, bunch of them, the mega churches or whatever, this sits perfect with them, because it says, because thou sayest, I am rich and increase with goods, and have need of nothing, right? Then it has a semicolon, which is like one eye closed, one eye open, or it's a demon eye, and demon ties to intelligence or whatever. And now, or knowest not that thou art wretched, and miserable, and poor, and blind, and naked. And the naked is one of those key words, because the naked is taking you back to the garden. And this is where that serpent is being taken from you in one way, shape, or form. That SS, and as they're both going, you have them both going up, both going down, or one going up, one going down, and you get the infinity signs and all those little other things going on. But as you have the nakedness mentioned there, you have the Lord God coming in and creating this man, this industrial age, Adam created from the dust and all those things. We've seen these things in our world. And so as this so-called heaven has been created in one way, shape, or form, it's given birth to a new world and another spectrum. So this is where this one world is being captured up, and this is where it tells you earth is here, creation is here, the Lord God comes, and he creates Eden on the east side, and that's one way of doing so-called things right. And then you get access to a knowledge to become as the sons of God, just like what Jesus taught the people. As they're stealing the inheritance on the candlesticks and dividing things, they aren't becoming united. And this is also where the stealing of the inheritance, where the Christian nationalism, whatever, where they want to outlaw Sharia law and whatever else. Okay, we need to allow all these things. If people want to go into that cult, they're allowed to go into that cult or whatever. But we don't. This is one nation under God, and as God is in all man, we have man worshiping God however they want, not just how King James says so or whatever else. But the nod is another type of that American dream and going back to sleep, where we woke up, but we don't have to go to sleep in that same bed. We can go to sleep in another bed, and all those types of things as we're playing these things of where the parents stay together, the parents divorce, the money stays together, the money goes away, all those things, but you're given this window into heaven and this door as the king is knocking, it tells you. And the people aren't going to hear the king because they're shown this serpent and they're shown this fear and they're shown this evil, this devil so-called, because the motion picture has been given life through the so-called Illuminati, that single eye that Jesus tells you to seek after or whatever. And the God's light, if we think of these things, the sun's light shines off the moon, they tell us, and the moon's light can only shine if it reflects the moon. So that's where you have to reflect that light of the thing. So that's where the law is actually created to help you and teach you about the so-called sin. So you go and do the sin and see if it's right for you or whatever kind of thing. And this, either way, there's multiple overlays on these things. As each person goes through tribulation, each person has that John coming up inside of them, that wild time when they're 15, 20, 25, whatever, 30, and they start going into that rest and that island, being single and all those things. That's when the truth comes over and you say, well, my parents taught me this and whatever else, but it's really this or whatever for me. Or so as all these lights of this beast system, basically this beast system, this MK Ultra system, this thing that we see going on in our world is all being gathered up and being controlled. They are the living liquid metal robot machines that I've talked about, that we don't need these robots. We already got them. They're already made. They just kind of got to be turned on or turned off in whichever way of speaking. Okay, and this is where it's just going to be but once it's all done by 2030, and then 2035, 2040, all these mechanisms and years, and the 51 to the 52, the 48 light to the reverse 25 on the 52 on the clock, taking us from day 1 to day 2, and the shining of the 8-year lights on the clothings of the suns and such have been put together, and whatever else. But we can see how all these things when we step up out and look at the big picture. But and the church talking about it's so great in the garden being naked or whatever, but when we see Kanye West bringing his girlfriend or whatever, and Kanye being one of the Black Adams and such coming, and he was already put on the cross back then and wore the crown of thorns, and he walks with the Jesus, and that Jesus, the G-man, and all those things. But that's where he's part of that Black Adam, and Eve's walking around naked or one way, and then now she's kind of covering up and whatever else. So, oh man, these things can also tie to your Epstein Island, where they're placed here and given this like Virgin Island area, virgin births and whatever else, and these Hollywood stars and sons of God, the political figures, all these things coming in for this little breeding project to keep the elite line. And we see these things in Hollywood, and they're telling us all these things. So, as that's where it's all going into this like little Big Bang session on one spectrum. That way, then you have the Big Bang spectrum over here, the Big Bang spectrum over here, okay? And your guns, nugs, gold, all those things are interwoven. Your crypto, your blockchain technology, blockchain teach, knowledge tree, and the dragon, and the drugs, and the ring cameras, all that shit will all be kind of going together, and that's the gathering of this one or whatever, and it's going to create a push on this other. All right, so that's where also the straight and narrow and all that shit is part of these keys and getting in and out as this ice age is being developed, and this being able to deport and lock up whoever the fuck they want without a trial, and whatever other kind of Nazi bullshit militaristic shit Bush was going for. And that's where you say Bush taking that mountain on that hill, lighting that fire way well be successful. And that's successful too also. All right, so either way, this is where you have, and Mary Trump, Mary Trump could be the one setting all this shit up to take out her brother. Either way, the day 6, 7 is here, and the Lord God is here collecting the light of the old earth. It's kind of just be patient. Oh, y'all will be patient for sure. I mean, be patient on the other spectrum, not the ER. Oh, wait, that ear format. Oh, well, shit. Hopefully you'll see that Luke physician, that lucky physician. Because I know you're already eating that Tricks Are for Kids. And that's basically probably like dried out rabbit shit that's been bleached and just died back for you. It's just all like alfalfa, ultra processed, 3D printed in another way. Okay? And your homogenized milk and your pasteurized milk is a 3D printed food, folks. Y'all have been eating 3D printed food for a long time, and there's a reason why your dog food is made for man. Coming up as the Beast Man and the Kibble comes 1 in 1. So hopefully your dogs eat nicely with you. We're like in a weird parallel right now. Well, you're basically going to find out, you may not even eat dog food on a literal spectrum, but you're going to find out that all your fast food, you cook all this like shit for your dog. I see people cooking like these beautiful meals for the dogs, or like when you have a dog, you buy that like $80 a bag dog food or whatever. Like, really want to care for my dog. I love my dog, or what, even though I'm going to lock him up in a fucking cage all day long. So some of you may be eating Chipotle, right? Well, this is better fast food, but well, it's still owned by fucking McDonald's. They were bought out a long time ago. Some of you might be eating the nicer shit like Panda Express, or hey, we make our bread fresh daily, but it's made of plastic. Oh, that's Subway. But we use the, or you can go wherever. Can I get some sweet and low? I can't handle real sugar. Where were we? Everything's fucked. Everybody's be fucked in the ass. And that big dildo comes out backwards through that old candida as the old worms are opened up in the parasites. Okay? So. Go to the land of Nod. That's another land of Nod. You're in Nazi fucking Germany again, behind the wall. And you got that down. I got that down. That's where all these languages of the Romance languages, they all come from so-called Latin or English, where it's all going into, but it's where you gotta start LOL, and come out with new fucking language, because all your other language is being monitored and tracked and whatever else, and you got to come up at fucking out of it and create a whole new fucking nation in a way. And that's where we've seen in the past where the Bible was written this way and that way, or the U's were flipped to whatever, and that's where you got the pager on the pager, or the calculator. You can type out boobless with the numbers and whatever else, where you're going into this little matrix where you, either way. You gotta go to that decipher situation as you're going into that beast man mode. And it's getting cold out there. You gotta wrap that fur on. That's where you all were growing up with cops, showing bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come on you? Blasting that shit every night in the fucking house. And that Israel, coming to the Israel. And we're seeing it crack open now. Good stuff, folks. Enjoy Eden. Enjoy the land of Nod. Enjoy that American dream as you wake up into that nightmare. That nightmare is where you wake up. You're all tied up. Do the bedpost and the exposition. And she just starts eating your balls first. Some slow fucked up death. Welcome to the land of Sodom.